I will thank everybody for coming now.
I too will thank everyone for coming. I'm Shanti Janice, and I am hosting the ever famous Alan Handelsman, who first presented at American Society of Dowser Convention in Vermont in 2001. One year, he was the most sold recording of any presentation at the convention. Alan has been teaching and presenting at conferences internationally throughout the United States, Canada, England, Norway, Switzerland, and New Jersey. As a hypnotherapist, he works with private clients with issues ranging from sleeping problems, golfing problems, to habit problems. He is the developer of the Resonance Tuner energy device, which is now being used across the United States and in 40 foreign countries. The title of today's presentation is Improving Your Focus, Amplifying Your Intention, and Jumpstarting Your Intuition. And we'd like to once again thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming. I hope you had a nice flight. And we're going to talk about focus, intention, and intuition, and hopefully give you some different ideas and definitely 2 or 3 things that you can do. So there's some skills that will happen, skills that you'll be amazed at how well you can do them immediately. And let's get started. What I'd like to do is do something that will help with focus, okay? So that everything else we do, you can focus more on it, and anything you do, including dowsing, you can be more focused than even you have been. So what I'd like to do is, I use models. We can call them images. The model that I use for overwhelm or lack of focus is being caught in a storm, and things are blowing at you from every direction. So you have all these distractions, and usually we push them away, or we duck out of the way, and or we nail them down. So things are coming, you grab something, you nail it down, and you say, if I get this done by Tuesday, then I'll be okay. And of course, Monday, 8 other things come and hit you. So you get hit. If you push things away, it's really tiring. Imagine that you have to constantly be aware of everything that's happening, because otherwise you get hit. We wonder why we're tired sometimes. And ducking doesn't work well, because when you duck out of the way of one thing, you get hit by something else that's coming right there. So I would like to show you the 4th way of being in this storm of distraction. And I would ask you to play along, and you don't have to do it well. This is so powerful that it'll happen even if you mess it up. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes if you'd like. You don't have to. And imagine being in this storm, and things are coming at you, and they're maybe not big things, but just little things that take your attention, and you're turning and you're seeing all these things. I would describe myself as having ADD, but I can't spell it. So you're pushing these things away, you're ducking, you're nailing things down, working really hard. And what I'd like you to do is take 2 steps backward or in any direction, and step into the eye of the storm, the place right in the middle of the storm where you don't get hit. And even with everything blowing around, now everything is blowing around you. And you may notice right away that you are breathing. Doesn't matter how you're breathing. But usually we don't notice whether we're breathing or not. Maybe you've always been breathing, but you're noticing something different. And if you don't get hit by anything, there's not much else to notice. And you may notice that as you breathe out, you can breathe out a little bit more than you're used to breathing out. And that's calming. And it's rather peaceful. And you may notice that instead of all those things flying around, what's more fascinating is how quiet and comfortable you can be right now, no matter what's happening on the outside. And you may notice that you're more interested in the next words I'm going to say, just because there's nothing much else to pay attention to. And one of the things I love about the eye of the hurricane, the eye of the storm, is that we needed the storm to find it. So we didn't have to change anything. We didn't have to change the world or even the neighborhood or even ourselves to find the eye of the storm. The storm wasn't keeping you from this place of comfort inside and focus and calm, relative calm. The storm was actually showing you where to find it. It's not a gate that's closed. It's a signpost. Come this way. You're on the right track. And you can enjoy. A lot of people that I work with private clients, and I do it over the phone or by Zoom. And I've been doing phone for 25 years. And they'll say, okay, I got the eye of the storm. Now what? But this is a nice place to be. This is a nice place to start from when you need to focus or concentrate, when you need to calm down or relax. This is a great place to be from. So I'm going to ask you on the count of 3 to 1 to open your eyes. And you may notice that you can be more calm, more focused, more comfortable, even with your eyes open. 3, 2, 1, let your eyes open. And usually I say, notice how quiet it is in here, but everybody's muted, so I can't lose on this one. If you can actually raise your hand. I see a few people who are courageous enough to have their cameras on. Do you notice some quietness? Good. Okay. So that's how easy it is. And it's using the storm rather than trying to fight it. And that's a big deal for me because I've been fighting everything, especially myself, for a long time. So using the eye of the storm, and notice that I didn't tell you how many steps to take, and I didn't tell you a direction to take them in. I used to say to people, take 2 steps backward. And the only reason I said 2 steps backward, because I figured if it was right in front, we would see it. So it must be behind us someplace. But one client said, don't ask me to take a step back in my life. And so I used any direction. And that's actually very helpful because it could be any place. And the nice thing is that you found it for yourself. You knew where it was better than I could tell you. And we're not usually surprised about how much we know, but it's there. Maybe we are always surprised about how much we know. Maybe we could get used to that and assume that there's more to us than we thought, that we have more ability, more strength. So you have more ability to calm down and focus. Now, so that's the focus part. Okay, so on your, I think you get evaluation forms. I plan on filling out 50 or 60 over the weekend for myself. But so we've covered the focus part, because then we can, more focus means better intention, and better, we can pay attention to the intuition. Most of the time we have to be hit over the head 3 times, right? To get the message. So maybe this will cut it down to 2 times. That's not bad. That's a 33% improvement. So how do we strengthen intention? I don't understand intention. I really don't. And I'll show you why I don't understand it, and what I think is something that we need to include with intention that we usually don't. See? So here's an example. Let's see if the camera will pick this up. I have 2 pieces of paper, believe it or not. And they don't exist at the same time. This is the physics experiment. But there's 2 pieces of paper. There we go. And I guess you'll have, there we go. 2 pieces of paper. Now, it's my intention that these 2 pieces of paper get joined so that they don't come apart. And we're all gonna use our intention to make that happen. And then I'm going to show you something that's 10 times more powerful, okay, than intention. So what I'd like you to do is imagine, I'm going to put them together and use your intention for 10 seconds to that with all our intention that these pieces of paper will be stuck together for 10 seconds, and use all that intention that you have. 1, pages stuck together. 2, pages stuck together. 3, together. 4, together. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So with all that intention, because we're pretty good at that, these 2 pieces of paper should be stuck together, correct? And they're not. So let me show you something that is 10 times more powerful than intention. Because you may, in your life, have been frustrated that sometimes you have the intention and nothing happens, or what you intend doesn't happen. So here it is. It's called a stapler. And in 1 second, the pages are stuck together. So a stapler is 10 times more powerful. So now we can build a shrine and put a stapler on it. But what this represents, this is just one form of what I call a method of manifestation. So intention is fine, but the next step is to manifest the intention. If our intention was to calm down and focus in the beginning of this, that's fine. But how many people say, I'm really good at relaxing? Most people don't. They have the intention. And what we supply, or what I've just supplied, is at least one method of manifestation. So how we manifest our intention, we can change that and make it work. So we're going to learn 3 more skills. We have the eye of the storm. We're going to learn 3 more because I'm talking really fast and we have time to do this. Somebody gave a talk on last Saturday at a dowsing meeting, and somebody asked the question, how can we strengthen our intention? And one way is to choose a powerful or a useful method of manifestation. So that adds to the strength. And another thing that I thought of immediately when somebody asked that question was, one great way to strengthen intention is to reduce the judgment. So if you've ever been doing anything, whether it's dowsing or tennis or golf or sleeping or reading or anything. And if you think to yourself, I wonder how I'm doing, I wonder how I'll do, any kind of judgment is disempowering. It offers less power available. So if you let go, when I was a professional musician for 30 years, and when I was teaching music, I would tell my students, don't care so much and don't work so hard. Don't care so much, which means you won't work so hard. The things that we do that we don't care so much about, or that it doesn't matter if we do them well, those are the things that are easiest for us to do. So why not make everything easier by not caring about anything? And if we don't judge how we're doing, if we're just in it for the activity rather than the result, you may find that everything or those things become more fun, easier, and then afterward you may notice that, hey, my headache's gone, or whatever your intention was, or my pendulum's working better, or something like that. All right, so letting go of judgment and adding a method of manifestation. Trade one for the other. So no questions yet. If anybody has a question at the moment, you can either type it in, or you can go under reactions and raise your hand, and Shanti Janice will see you and let me know that there's questions. If not, we're going to add some methods of manifestation to our intention in a moment. But if our intention is to jumpstart our intuition, we're going to do that now. This is something that worked really, really well for me. So I'm hoping that it will work for you. I have a big bag of tricks, meaning I have a lot of methods of manifestation that I've collected, because I found that there's not one that works every time. And some work now and then. And sometimes because my situation has changed or my client's situation has changed, it's time to find something else. They're in a different place, so we find a different method of manifestation. I use a lot of images, models, I call them. Imagination has a bad name, doesn't it? For years we heard, oh, it's just your imagination. Okay, hey, mommy, I'm scared. Oh, it's just your imagination. Or the doc, this hurts. Oh, it's all in your head. But nothing would exist on this earth if it wasn't in somebody's imagination first, which makes just your imagination the greatest creative force in the universe. So we use imagination. And if I say everything we do is imaginary, that just means that we're tapping into the greatest creative force in the universe. It doesn't mean it's not real or it doesn't exist. So I just learned that the word intuition has been misspelled since the 1600s. So I'm going to give you a new way of spelling intuition. So if you're taking notes, you may want to write this down. The real spelling of intuition is Guess. Okay, so it's a pretty good place to start. In other words, I'm not really good at intuition, but if I were, then this would be the answer. And what I'd like to do is make it is clear the path so that if there are answers available, you can get them quicker and easier. And this is, I mean, we use dowsing to do that. So here's another way to do it. We could call the class, my dog hid my pendulum. So we can look for answers inside. And instead of explaining how to do this, let's just do it. So I would ask you again to close your eyes. Sit comfortably. I love it when we're all in a room together and I say, get comfortable, and there's all this rustling. And I just assume, because I've let go of judgment, that nobody was comfortable before. So either stay comfortable or get comfortable. Close your eyes. And this is what I did. Actually, stay comfortable, but open your eyes for a moment or two. I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'll give you a little bit of background on this. There are times when I will use the image of a coloring book. And I consider a coloring book a really nice image to use because we've all colored when we were kids, most of us anyway. And we know what it's like to fill in spaces with color. So I imagined that I saw color, I saw myself as an outline, just as an outline. And if there are colors in, somebody's already colored it in, like old stuff, old belief systems, old energy, whatever it is, I was able to take my magic eraser and erase all the colors in the lines. And then I would either put in new colors of my own choosing, or what I would do is ask for a color. What color would be nice to have? And one time I saw this yellow coming down and into two sections of my outline in the coloring book. And it was either 3 days or 3 weeks, but for a significant amount of time after the yellow came in, I had more energy. It was just night and day. So that was pretty cool, and it's something you can do. Erase all the other colors, and it's a pretty standard dowsing healing technique, which is you scramble the frequencies of what you don't want anymore, and then add the frequencies that you do. So, and if we just imagine them as colors, to me, that sometimes that's easier to imagine than frequencies, because we see colors and we sometimes we're not aware of the frequencies that way. So then I thought, if I get asked for a color, and I was getting really tired of trying to figure out what I wanted or what I needed. So I closed my eyes, and sometimes this is what I did. I erased, instead of just the colors in the outline, I erased everything. I erased myself, the outline, the colors, so that the coloring book, this page, which is me today, was blank. And my intention in the beginning was to draw a new image of myself. But I didn't. I asked for a new image. I said to whoever it is that you talk to when you douse or heal or whatever, I said, show me an image. You give me the image. And immediately I saw an image of a lamb. And this is a very sexist remark, and they come out from time to time. For a male to have a lamb as a power animal, it wasn't what I would have chosen. So I knew it wasn't me, but I didn't know what it meant. So I looked up lamb as a power animal, and it said, I looked it up online, and it said lamb is a power animal. If you're female, click here. If you're male, click here. And I clicked, male, and it said, oh, sorry. But I took that image and used it the best way that I could. And then a few weeks later, I was doing a crossword puzzle, which is a great place to get divine messages. And the clue was animal associated with, or symbol associated with innocence. And the answer was lamb. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm doing a little bit too much judgment here. Maybe the lamb meant that I don't have to hold myself guilty. Basically, I narrowed it down to everything I've ever done. So I was able to let go of a lot of judgment. And that worked really well. So I was given an image. It took a while to get the full impact, but it was surprising. Again, because you may have guessed this already, I don't consider myself like really good at getting messages. I don't consider myself inherently intuitive. So sometimes I have to think, if I were, what would this mean? Or what was I getting? But I was pretty clear about the lamb. It wasn't so much a picture as a knowing. Whatever was there, whatever splotch of lines and colors, I knew it was a lamb. So let's play with that, and let's see if anybody gets anything. You may get it now, you may get it later. Sometimes you do things, and then if you forget about it, sometimes you have a spontaneous experience the next day or that night or whatever, and you say, oh, I didn't need that exercise, I got it myself. So maybe they're related, maybe they're not. So now we can close our eyes. We're all still very, very comfortable. And imagine opening up a coloring book. And what you see is, again, an image of you in an outline. Maybe there's some colors. And it's surprisingly very little danger of losing yourself if you erase yourself from this page. It actually feels really good. It's like time off. It's the most intense vacation that you could have. If you want to get away from things, disappearing is one of the most effective ways. That's why people drink and do all sorts of drugs and all of that stuff. That's what I'm told anyway. So now we can do it safely, inexpensively, easily. And just take that magic eraser. I use an iPad, a tablet, and it's great because there's all sorts of drawing programs, and you can take a photo and change the photo and erase anything that you add. It's really cool. But we've all used coloring books, probably crayons. I was always disappointed that they didn't have brown crayons. They had burnt sienna or something, but they never had brown. And allow that page to be blank. And you may notice as you look at that blank page, that feels really good. Maybe it means that you don't have to be anything in particular. You can just be. And that blank page represents everything that you have to do today. And there's nothing there, which makes everything a choice much easier, much more fun. And then ask for an image. Ask for an image that wants to be colored in. So it's just outlines and spaces like a coloring book. Or you may just notice that there's a beautiful picture, full blown, all the details, or just some colors. One of the common knowledge is to be specific when you ask for things, but sometimes you can be very general and just ask for an image that will help you in some way, whether it's to improve your dowsing, heal something, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or energetic, whatever it is. And let that image be there. If you don't see anything right away, that's okay. Maybe if there's absolutely nothing, if you ask for something and nothing happens, maybe that means you failed completely at this. Or maybe it means that the message is you don't have to be anything in particular. Or you can create your own. Whatever you come up with is okay. Maybe that's it. And if you want to jumpstart it, you can be like Jackson Pollock. take a couple of crayons and throw them at the page, and maybe there's some dots of different colors, or you can scribble some lines, and then at some point they may begin to make sense. Maybe not. Because just doing it is more important than getting something specific. Because we know we've been taught that the question is very important. And sometimes we say, what's the answer to this question or that question? I've been in a position where I said, tell me what question to ask. So my question was, what's a good question to ask? And other times, I've prayed for, I don't care what the questions are, and I don't care what the answers are. Just let me know I'm okay. There's that judgment thing again. And somehow I knew it. And it's a pretty, I've come to the conclusion. This is my new book. Judgment is bad. So allow whatever image is there to be there. And then either live with it for a while, or you may know exactly your next step, or you may feel this weight lifted. Or if you've been tied up in armor, maybe that is lighter. And you may have no idea how it happened or what happened. And then you go right into gratitude. You can just say thank you. Or you can forget about it, and then tomorrow, next week, you may be listening to a speaker tomorrow, and when they're speaking, you feel so much better, and you know it's because of what I said. So you may not want to fill out the evaluations till tomorrow. Anyway, I see a few of you. Some of you are not, again, have the courage to show me who you are. And you can open your eyes now. And you can nod your head if you want. Did you notice that you got something? A couple. Okay. I see somebody didn't get anything. And I'm willing to return all the money that I've received from doing this presentation. So I'll give you twice that money back if you're not happy with it. Now, so, and just play with that. And if you do it differently than I've presented it, I like that. Okay, when I work with a client and I give them a model that we're going to use or an image that we're going to change, sometimes they'll say, Alan, I'm not getting it. I can't get that image. And I think that's great because it's their inner system, their healing system saying to us or saying to the client, listen, we know what Alan wants. Follow us. We'll get you there quicker. So I will say, if they say, I'm not getting that image, it's hard for me. I'll say, what are you getting? And most of the time they're getting something. And that's the image that we work with. So if you're getting something different, that means that you're better than I thought you were, and you're better than you thought you were, because you're taking this and making it 2.0. So if the image changes in a way that you don't expect, I really like that when it happens to me, because I've learned that I'm a pretty talented control freak. So if I can do things that come from outside of my control, that works for me. So if you have any questions,
Alan,
okay,
we do have a comment.
okay,
Someone, I guess, felt a little judged because they wanted you to know that video off is not a matter of courage as much as a matter of low bandwidth and unstable internet connection.
absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate that. Yes, so and I appreciate your courage in letting us know that. I do appreciate that, and it's true. And again, that brings up the weakness of judgment, is that or explaining things that happen. There are more things that are happening at any particular time than we can explain, and if we assume that we got it, then we may be headed down a path that is not really all that effective. Okay. All right. Somebody else says that she has a crew behind her laying floor tiles. So that's another great reason not to be on video. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you being here even when that's happening. Because if it wasn't happening, I wouldn't have a floor to stand on. So let's look at another way of strengthening intention. We're actually going to do two things at the same time. I'm going to do one method, and I'm going to talk you through another. Would it be nice to be a better dowser, to get clear answers from your pendulum or rods? Okay, so we're going to do two things. I have my pendulum here, and let's see. Somebody has raised their hand. Do you nod your head? Do you want to ask a question? Okay, so there. I think. Can you unmute yourself? Yes.
Yes. Thank you. You mentioned back when you were talking about the coloring book about dousing it scrambles the frequencies that we don't want anymore, and then we add in what we do want. I never heard that before, but it's very interesting. It popped up.
Good. Okay. I can explain that in the lounge afterward.
Okay.
And there's other people who are doing the same type of thing. So if you can follow me into the lounge, or I'll follow you, and we'll go into more detail. Okay, great. Thank you. So if you have your pendulum with you, just have it handy. And I'm going to use one of the things I'm famous for, which is this orange card. It's been different colors over the years. This is called a resonance tuner. This is not a commercial for the resonance tuner um, because we're not supposed to do commercials here. We're supposed to do classes. So, but I'm going to use it as my method of manifestation, and my intention is that it will affect everybody's dowsing tool, whether it's a pendulum or the rods or bobber or whatever you've got, whatever you enjoy. And at the same time, so we're going to work at it from both ends. We'll work at it from my end and your end. Okay, so I'm going to take this card, and all I do is hold it over my pendulum, which represents all of yours. And what I'd like you to do is close your eyes. And we're going to watch 3 movies. Just little movies, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And they're all very, very enjoyable. The first movie is watching the best dowser you can imagine. A dowser who gets very clear answers, whose dowsing tool works really well, gives very clear answers, and can affect it, that actually works as a method of manifestation in making whatever changes they want to make. And you watch a picture of this person really enjoying the dowsing that they're doing. You see that pendulum, or you see the rods moving easily and well. And as you watch that, you can feel sometimes the best way to increase or activate intention is to let go of the tension. So I think out tension is maybe as important as intention. So as you watch this beautiful dowser enjoying what they're doing, you feel tension leaving your body. You feel your arms, especially your arms, getting really loose, almost where you can't hold them up, or that they're so loose that they begin to float. And you watch this movie, it's very comfortable, it's very enjoyable. And the second movie, the nice thing is it's exactly the same as the first movie. The only difference is, instead of watching this wonderful dowser who you may know or just imagine or have heard of, now as you watch the same movie with the same effectiveness and the same joy of dowsing, you see yourself as the dowser. And you watch yourself getting the answers that you've always wanted, the clarity of answer. Maybe instead of the pendulum moving just a little, maybe it moves a lot, or the reverse. Maybe it moves so easily that the least little change is obvious. However, you enjoy seeing that dowsing happen. And you can see the joy on your face. Almost sometimes maybe the surprise. Wow, this is working great. We've heard stories of how people get into dowsing, and some of them, as soon as I picked it up, it started moving. I couldn't believe it. Others, I've been dowsing for 7 years and my pendulum hasn't moved yet. So it's different for everybody. And here you get to choose the way that you'd like it to happen for you. And all you have to do is watch. And notice how good that feels. And you allow all the air to go out of your lungs when it's time to breathe out. And notice how good it feels just to watch that movie. And then there's a third movie. And in this movie, instead of watching it, you get to be the actor. You've already been in it, you've seen yourself. And now, instead of just seeing what it's like, now you get to feel what it's like. And you get to be that joyful dowser in the movie, the star of the show, and feel what it's like for the tool in your hand, whether it's a pendulum or rods or anything. But you feel that dowsing tool, you know that it's got a life of its own, and that it moves in ways that are easy and effortless, and the answers that you get are clear. Your whole body is looser, it's calmer, which helps focus, which helps you be ready to receive the information. You can imagine, as part of the movie, that somebody asks you a question, not for dowsing, but just something else. And you've had this experience where somebody asks you a question and then you begin to answer and they don't listen to the answer. Their attention is turned, or they begin talking to somebody else or talking to you. But you know how frustrating that is when somebody asks you a question and then they don't pay attention to the answer. And maybe we've done that. We've asked questions from our dowsing system or from ourselves, and then we don't wait for the answer, or we're not paying attention because we're busy or we're unfocused or whatever. So now imagine that somebody comes in the room, asks you a question, and you answer and they pay attention. And how good that feels and how thankful you are, because you don't have to say much to answer the question. It's a simple answer and they get it. And you can see that they get it, and then they leave you alone. And imagine that you're asking questions and then you sit quietly with your pendulum or L rod and wait for the answer without distraction. It's where the eye of the storm. If you do this in the eye of the storm, distractions are fewer. If the page is blank in the coloring book, distractions are fewer. And if you know that you are okay, whichever the answer is, whatever the answer is, that it doesn't matter, that you will not be more loved or less loved because of the answer, then it's easier to focus and be ready to receive whatever the answer is. So when I count from 3, if your eyes have been closed, open them up. And if there haven't been, you can keep them open. 1, 2, 3. Triple feature. I want to say that I appreciate everybody who came today, however they've taken part. Whether I can see you or not, I appreciate that you're here. And thank you. Thank you for coming. We have a few minutes left. Thank you. I see some applause. Thank you. And this is really, it is different doing it by Zoom. because usually I can hear the thunderous applause. Now I hear thunderous silence, but I appreciate it. And it's, again, it has nothing to do with any of us. It's just the situation. And it's nice that we're together in whatever way we can be. So I just want to go over the skills that we've used. We've used the eye of the storm, and finding it is a matter of taking a step or two, going right into the storm. And you don't have to change it because, in a sense, we all are the eye of the storm. The second thing we did was use the image of a coloring book, and you can use it a variety of ways. I like to simplify by erasing what's there, because you know, coloring on white is much easier than coloring on another color. Same thing with painting, I assume. So we have the eye of the storm, we have the coloring book, and then we have what I call 3 movies. And that is, you watch somebody doing what you'd like to do better, and just watch. And then see yourself doing that much more easily, and then feel what it feels like. Those are the 3 movies. Watch somebody, watch yourself, and then be yourself. When I was teaching, getting my music degree, I was a student teacher in a high school, and I had to teach a tuba lesson. I never held a tuba in my life. I don't like to carry that much. And I went, and for 10 minutes before the lesson, I played around on the tuba for the first time ever. And I just made believe what a good tuba player would look like. And I actually demonstrated for this beginning student. And the student went to my co-op, the teacher, and said, he's a really good tuba player. So if you allow yourself to look the way and feel the way, you may find that you're better than you thought, or more skilled. So those are the 3. And the 4th way, again, this is not a commercial for the resonance tuner, because you can't buy it here. The only way you can buy it is by contacting me or going to resonancetuner.com, which gives you a way to contact me. My contact information is in the chat. The tuner is just a little card. It's been around for a long time. You can read more about it on the website. And hopefully you've all received the benefit. And you may notice that when you go to DAOs, that your tools work just more easily, that you're more comfortable. There's the website. It looks familiar. Thank you, Robert. Let's see. So now, does anybody have any questions? Now you can open up. We have about 4 or 5 minutes. So if anybody has questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can unmute you. If not, I am going to move to the lounge within 3 minutes of finishing up here.
Alan, I've opened up the floor. Anybody who would like to unmute themselves, they can go ahead and do that.
Oh, great. Any questions or comments? Or again, I've seen some familiar faces and seen some familiar names. And again, I appreciate all of you, especially the ones that who I don't know, because you had no idea what you were in for. All right. Well, we'll call it a day. Thanks for coming. Again, if questions come up afterward, feel free to contact me in whatever way. My phone number, I can get texts. I love getting texts. Every time I receive a text, I feel, I used to say 48 years younger. Now it's about 52 years younger. So feel free to call or text or go to the websites, and hopefully we'll see you in person sometime soon. Thank you very much.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Question, yes.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to come, get to start your presentation when you're talking about the eye of the storm. I can
Mhm.
just imagine what you were doing there, but does that mean, all this stuff is happening around you and you just center into the eye of the storm?
No, don't
No.
center. Don't center to the eye of the storm, and I'll tell you why. And it's a really good question, and I really appreciate the way that you asked it because I don't know how to center. Okay, so the instruction is to take a couple of steps. Now, I've been taking steps for a long time, 66 years
Okay,
or 65 maybe. So take a couple of steps in whatever direction and walk into the eye of the storm.
oh,
Okay, so and that makes it more real if you walk into it rather than, again, centering is nice, but I like things that are more concrete and more basic.
right.
So check it out. Be in the storm first and then take a couple of steps and you'll find the eye. And
Oh.
you'll know that you're there because you don't get hit anymore and things get quiet. And if you have questions, again, you can contact me anytime at all.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. You're getting a lot of thank yous, and thank you all of you for joining us. And please take the time to fill out your speaker evaluations and continue to support the American Society of Dowsers, who have done an amazing job with this. Thank you for keeping it going.
Alan,
Again
could
this
you give
year.
us your phone number?
And it's
602,
also, okay,
it's
okay.
on the chat, but I'll give it to you. 602-478-8346. Operators are standing by.
Thank you, Alan. Great
Oh,
info.
thank you. Thank you. See you in the lounge. So long.
All righty, everyone.
Thank you, Alan.
You bet. My pleasure.
Thank you so much, great, wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Some good techniques there.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
You bet.
So
Thank
glad I
you.
came.
Me too.
Bye-bye.